I want to try something with this Oneida Phoenix bow. I've been shooting an arrow that weighs about 430 grains. That'd be this arrow here. And those are the arrows that I've used with my traditional compound bow, and they work pretty well for that. But as I've been reading on forums, people say that the Oneida is like a heavier arrow. So I got some arrows here, and the way they're decked out, they weigh about 540 grains. So we're going to see if there's any difference between the way the bow shoots a lighter arrow versus a heavier arrow. There's three areas that I want to look at: the sound of the bow with a heavier arrow, the speed of the bow, and the penetration you get with a heavy arrow. Now, I think we know that the speed is going to slow down with a heavier arrow, and probably we're going to get better penetration with a heavier arrow. Let's check the pounds of pull on this. You can see here that I'm getting a pretty consistent 67 plus pounds, but still right about 67 pounds. Okay, this is what I've been shooting, about 430 grains. And this is what I'm going to shoot now, just a heavier arrow to see the difference. This arrow is about 110 grains heavier. I was alternating shots between the lighter arrow and the heavier arrow to see if there was any noticeable difference in the sound the bow made. I'm going to shoot my first three shots through the chronograph with the heavier arrows at 540 grains. I was getting a pretty consistent 235, 236 feet a second. Okay, I'm going to start a new session on the Garmin here. I'm going to set it up for the lighter arrow at 430 grains. I'm going to take three shots with that, and let's see what kind of velocity we get. With the lighter arrow, I was getting a pretty consistent 260 feet per second. Now, this arrow being 110 grains lighter is translating in to 25 feet per second faster. Another way to look at it is between the two speeds, 260 is about 10% faster than 235. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shoot all six arrows again into this target, and this is a pretty fresh target, so if I can put them all in this area here, we'll have pretty much equal resistance for each arrow. Then we can measure the penetration of whether the lighter ones that are going faster penetrate further, or the heavier ones that are going slower penetrate further. I'm glad I had the secondary target backing me up on that one. Pretty much exactly as I was expecting. The heavier arrows that are going slower got slightly better penetration. In terms of the speed, it certainly makes sense that a heavier arrow is going to shoot a little bit slower than a faster arrow. And the one thing that I was really wondering is, when I was shooting the heavier arrow, would it have any difference in the sound that the bow made? And maybe the bow was a tiny bit quieter with the heavier arrow. Not 100% sure, but maybe a little bit. In terms of accuracy, I need to do some more testing, but in the few shots that I took on camera and off camera, I didn't notice the heavier arrows shooting any better or any worse than the lighter arrows. Is it worth giving up 25 feet per second for a heavier arrow that may have a little bit better penetration if you're only hunting whitetail deer?